Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. I'm inside today because the sun is so bright. It's reflecting off the water and I can't see what I'm doing out there. We've got a neighbour who washes his boat at the back. He's got a beautiful boat. And when he washes his window things, his plastic windows, I'm blinded. I have to leave the back deck in the mornings. But the weather here is really nice. Now, it's going to be a hot one today. I might go swimming later. So, lots and lots of little bits and pieces about Meghan and Harry at the moment. Now, there's a YouTuber that I watch, and I have watched her for years, and I hardly ever mention her, actually. She's fantastic. Celt. C-E-L-T. Celt News. Very, very good YouTuber. And she does a lot of research, like Bookworm too. And I like those kind of YouTubers as well as the more flamboyant and people who are put on a big show like River and Lady C, who are, you know. So if you don't already know who Celt is, I highly recommend going to have a look at her videos. And she was talking about a rumour that some of you had mentioned in the comments. And I looked into it and I couldn't find anything. And I've watched Celt, and she too has tried to find something out. I think it originated from Globe magazine, that there was, or a Montecito newspaper, that there had apparently, allegedly, been a fight between Harry and Meghan, and Harry had collapsed and been carted off by an ambulance to wherever. A hospital, a facility, I don't know. I can't find any truth behind it, but I mean, I can well believe that sort of thing. And if it was in Globe, I know Globe come out with outrageous front pages. It's not something I read. I normally look at the pictures on the front, and they had a particularly, I won't name the royal, but they had a particularly outrageous photograph of an extremely prominent royal doing something extraordinary, which I just found too shocking, but I thought it was really funny. It reminds me of a newspaper we used to have in the UK, which often had headlines, things like Elvis found on the moon, or woman gives birth to cat, or that sort of headline. I can't remember what newspaper that was that used to do that. I think they were the same ones that did Freddie ate my hamster. So you never know, though, because sometimes with those types of publications, you know, a few months later, something comes out and you think, whoa, they were bang on the money on that. They were absolutely right. So who knows? And Celt was also talking about the fact that apparently Meghan was under the impression, and so was Harry, that when William would come to the throne, they would co-reign. You know, Meghan and Harry and William and Catherine. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I can well believe it. It would explain a lot, wouldn't it? Harry, you see, Diana always wanted the boys to feel equal, as a lot of us mothers do. We don't want any of the children to feel, you know what they're like when they're little. He got more lemonade in his glass than I did. I'm checking the levels. My two argued and bickered over everything. And you do, as a mother, you try and make your children feel equal. But unfortunately, in the royal family, in that hierarchical position, that was never going to happen. But I don't think anyone ever explained that to Harry. And they allowed him to continue with this delusion, because when his mother died, that's a trauma. And so to compensate, I think the entire family allowed him to continue thinking he was, I mean, in a family sense, of course, he's equal to William. They're both equally loved by their father, I'm sure, and were both equally loved by their mother and equally loved by their grandparents. Do you see what I mean? But in the royal family side of it, that's not the case at all, and never was. Never was. So if Harry grew up believing that he was always going to be equal to William, he would have transmitted that to Meghan from the minute he met her. He would have said, well, we might not be called king and queen, but we'll be as good as king and queen because me and William are really level pecking order. And I suppose us, the public, to a certain degree, we also sort of gave Harry that, didn't we? All of us. Harry was, because I remember when I was a kid, I don't remember Andrew, us as a public, looking at Andrew as if he would be an equal to Charles. I just never felt that. Or Princess Anne. I mean, we just didn't see it that way. It was always clear Charles was in line. He was the heir to the throne. He was well, they're all heirs to the throne, but they're different numbers. But nobody ever sort of said, oh, Charles and Anne will co-rule. Charles and Andrew will co-rule. It was never like that. But we did, as the public and the public relations and the persona, the two boys together, because the two boys, and this has been forgotten by a lot of people, not you guys, but you know what I mean. They cut Harry a lot of slack for the fact that his mum died when he was 12 and tend to forget that William was 15, at both very tender ages, for something so awful. So I think we as the public, and because Harry was so popular, that was part of his popularity, was a sympathy. I think one of them, William or Harry, I can't remember which, but one of them said that the day their mother died, they inherited 50 million mothers, which I think that's probably very, very true. So he will have told Meghan that. And then from what Kelt was saying, Meghan basically took that as read and, had these vicious ambitions. And apparently they approached the Queen to ask for it to sort of be put in stone a bit. And then they approached again on another occasion. So maybe that's what they are demanding the big apology for. That they weren't given the, they weren't given the honour that they always felt entitled to. There's that word again, entitled. So that's interesting. And Harry just does seem desperately, desperately miserable. And really, I do feel Meghan has exacerbated his mental health. Now, I've had ex-boyfriends in the past who have, when you talk to a partner about your past life and you're growing up, and I've had one or two boyfriends who've said, oh, that's terrible. Oh, your family should never have done that. And I've found myself going, yeah, you're right. Yeah, And they've almost got me into a mindset of, like Harry, feeling that, oh, yeah, maybe my family did. Oh, yeah, maybe I should get more from my family. Or, yeah, that was an injustice where I had not seen any injustice before. And then after separating from the relationship, I thought, what the hell are you talking about? There's nothing of the sort. Now I come to think of it, it didn't happen like that. But obviously it never blew up into a big storm with me. Whereas Harry living under a spotlight, it has. And I think it's when you've got a partner who's pointing out all the negative all the time. I mean, I've had negative people around me in the past. I've worked with negative people. Not very often, but one or two, and they drag you down so much. I mean, even for a very strong-willed person and a very intelligent person, let's say you got the most intelligent person, even they, I think, could be dragged down and have the life sucked out of them. So I can well believe that maybe Harry's gone into some sort of rehab. I mean, they've had a lot of bad luck, haven't they, lately? And as predicted by many of you guys and me and other YouTubers, it's been coming, hasn't it? It was all so inevitable. This shouting from the rooftops about how wonderful they are and how much money they're going to make. And we could all see the Emperor's clothes, or rather could not see the Emperor's clothes. And it's very sad, actually, especially for Harry. And I do think that people who've encouraged them are responsible to a large extent. even people in the media who'd say, oh, they can be billionaires. And I still remember the exact people who said things like that a year ago. I remember. A lot of them now are saying that they predicted, like we all did. But no, I remember a time when there were some pretty high profile people saying, Meghan's going to be worth a fortune, they're going to be billionaires, they've got stardust. And those people are, well, it's a wide-mouthed frog all over again. I look on Christopher Boozy's Twitter, you know, again, I don't do Twitter, but I can Google his name and see the top few tweets. And he's going on about us Meghan haters, that would be all of us. We're a type, apparently. And he's got a photograph of someone who's quite critical of Meghan. Nothing racist or outrageous. And a picture of this woman and saying, that's a type. Now, what I'd say to Christopher Boozy about that is, you are stereotyping. Stereotyping is the first step towards prejudice and racism. Lumping people all into a group because you think they're a type. And that's very dangerous territory to come into. That's like judging people because of the colour of their skin, judging people because of their sexuality, their religion, the way they dress. That is, you are prejudiced, Christopher Boozy. And I'm also shocked to hear Kelt said that apparently Meghan didn't actually interview any of the people on her Spotify podcast. Well, I find that really bizarre and actually extremely rude, if that's true. So, and weird. Dead weird. She's too important to be in the same room as people, famous people. Well, one or two of them were famous people that she interviewed. She's too important. So her words have to be dubbed in later. That's super crazy. The more I learn about them, the more crazy their lifestyle seems to me, and artificial and plastic and sad. And I am ever more certain that it's going to end in horrible tragedy. I don't know how, but I don't feel that it's going to end well at all. It will be interesting to see how it will end, and if anybody can slap some sense into Harry. Because if anything, it would probably do Meghan the world of good if someone were to extract Harry from her. If they were, because they're a toxic combination, if they could be extracted and then heal. Who knows? Anyway, so it's just a quick chat for today. I might be doing more videos today, because for the next few days, it's just me and Graham. We're, for once, we've managed to get rid of the kids, and we're off for a couple of weeks, and we've at least got the next 5 days, just the two of us on the boat. So we will have more time, and I'm sure there will be more videos forthcoming. I look forward to reading your comments, and tell me what you think. Where on earth do you think this is going to end? As always, thank you very much for listening.